The M270 MLRS Multiple Launch Rocket System is an American-developed battlefield support weapon produced by Lockheed Martin Vought. It is based on the lengthened chassis of the M2 Bradley Infantry Fighting Vehicle, IFV, to form the M993 Multiple Launch Rocket System carrier unit, to which the installed launcher component is the M270. The M270 MLRS was introduced in the latter half of the Cold War, adding lethal projected firepower on a modified chassis of the M2 Bradley IFV. The completed system yields an impressive level of firepower for area suppression and sees the launcher house 12 tactical battlefield rockets or missiles with varying warhead types available, initially taken on by the U.S. Army in 1982. The M270 did not see its formal baptism of fire until the 1991 Gulf War, where it proved successful in its role. Today, 2014, the M270 still represents the U.S. Army's primary ground-based rocket launching platform. The M270 vehicle sports an armored cab at the front of the hull with the positional launch pod container fitted over the rear section. The launch pod consists of 2 X6 holders. A typical operating crew is 3, and these personnel sit protected in the cab during action. As with the M2 Bradley vehicle, the M270 is compact enough to be air transportable in the cargo hold of a Lockheed C-5 Galaxy or Boeing C-17 Globemaster heavy lift transport. The M270 can launch its payload through either ripple fire or full fire. Ripple fire will fire the tactical payload off one rocket at a time for a staggered result at the target area. Full fire sends the entire ordnance load skyward in seconds. The rocket said to arrive on target at the same time. As with the storied multiple rocket projectors of World War II, 1939, 1945. This makes the M270 a terrifyingly effective psychological weapon as well as a tactical one. The M270 typically is arranged to fire the standard M26 tactical rocket. This munition features a 32-kilometer range and disperses some 644 submunitions over the target area. Other munitions include the modified M26 Aeon and M26 ATWO extended range, ER variants, ATACMS Block I, chemical projectiles, and practice rockets, the latter for training purposes. Guided munitions support was introduced in 2006. Additional modernization followed in 2012. The vehicle is driven by a Cummins VTA 903 V8 turbocharged, diesel-fueled engine of 600 horsepower output. This is mated to a cross-drive turbo-electronically controlled transmission system. Operational range reaches 400 miles on road at speeds up to 40 miles per hour. The running gear consists of 6 road wheels to a hull side with the drive sprocket at front and track idler at rear. 2 track return rollers are featured. Design work on the M270 began in 1977 and production spanned from 1980 to 2003. Variants have included the original M270 vehicles followed by the upgraded M270 IPS. ATACMS support. This mark bridged the gap between the original Aeon models. The upcoming M270 Aeon Mark was a 2005 upgrade program with an improved fire control system, FCS, as launcher unit. Beyond its service with the U.S. Army, the M270 has been adopted by the forces of Bahrain, Denmark, Egypt, France, Finland, as the 298 RS Rack H, Germany, as the Mars, Greece, Israel, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, Norway, South Korea, Turkey, and the United Kingdom. Denmark and Norway have since retired their M270 stock. UK models were upgraded to the M270 Aeon form under the M270 Bone designation. The M270 Multiple Launch Rocket System, M270 MLRS, is an American armored, self-propelled, multiple rocket launcher. The U.S. Army variant of the MLRS vehicle is based on the chassis of the Bradley fighting vehicle. The first M270s were delivered to the U.S. Army in 1983. The MLRS were subsequently adopted by several NATO countries and other countries. The MLRS first saw service with the United States in the Gulf War. The MLRS has been upgraded to fire guided missiles. Service history: Ukraine. During the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, the United States considered sending the MLRS as part of military aid to Ukraine. Concerns were raised that this system could be used to hit targets inside Russia. U.S. President Joe Biden initially declined to send it to Ukraine, but on May 31 he announced that the M142 HIMARS, another vehicle capable of firing GMLRS rockets, would be supplied. On 7 June 2022, British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace announced that the UK would send 3 later increased to 6 MLRS to aid Ukrainian forces. On 15 June, Germany's Scholz cabinet also announced it would send 3 of its MARS vehicles from German army stocks. Ukraine announced they had received the first M270s on 15 July. The German Defense Secretary Christine Lambrecht announced the arrival of the vehicles they contributed on 26 July 2022. And on 15 September, German defense leaders announced they would transfer 2 more. On 12 October, it was reported that France would provide 3 of its LRU vehicles to Ukraine. And on 30 October, it was reported that Italy had approved the supply of 2 MLRS. The variants. M270 is the original version, which carries a weapon load of 12 rockets in 2 6-pack pods. This armored, tracked mobile launcher uses a stretched Bradley chassis and has a high cross-country capability. M270 ALM was the result of a 2005 upgrade program for the U.S. Army, and later on for several other states. The launcher appears identical to M270, but incorporates the improved fire control system, IFS, and an improved launcher mechanical system, ILMS. This allows for significantly faster launch procedures and the firing of GMLRS rockets with GPS-aided guidance. The U.S. Army updated 225 and 270 to this standard, when Bahrain ordered an upgrade of 9 to AON minimum configuration in 2022. It was stated to include CFCS, M270 Boeing British Army variant of the M270 AON, which includes an enhanced armor package to give the crew better protection against IED attacks. Following an agreement struck with the United States Department of Defense, the British Army will be embarking on a 5-year program to update the M270 Boeing to the M270 APWO standard. They are developing some UK-specific systems, including composite rubber tracks, CRT, and a vehicle camera and radar system. Upgrade of the first tranche of launchers started in March 2022. With the fleet going through production over a 4-year period, a new fire control system will be developed collaboratively with the US, the UK, Italy, and Finland. M270 COM was an upgrade proposal from Lockheed Martin involving the M142's Universal Fire Control System, UFS instead of IFS. M270 done Finnish Army variant of the M270 AON that uses the M142's Universal Fire Control System, UFS. Mars Roman 2/LRU/MLRSI is a European variant of the M270 AON involving Germany, France, and Italy. Middlew's artillery Raketen system. Mars Roman 2 launchers are equipped with the European Fire Control System, EFS, designed by Airbus Defence and Space. The EFS disables the firing of submunitions carrying rockets to ensure full compliance with the Convention on Cluster Munitions. M270 APWO is a 2019 upgrade program to the U.S. Army variant, which includes the new Common Fire Control System, CFCS, to allow the use of the Precision Strike Missile, PRSM. The update also includes a new 600 HP engine, upgraded and rebuilt transmission, and improved cabin armor protection. The U.S. Army will eventually upgrade its entire fleet of 225 M270 AON and an additional 160 decommissioned M270 Azero launchers.